Speaking of people who are going to watch things, allegedly Logan Paul and KSI did 800,000 pay-per-view buys, which leads to Logan Paul suggesting that maybe he should fight in the UFC. We've seen GSP say, yeah, sure, why not? Let celebrities fight in the UFC. Logan has a wrestling background, but Sage Northcutt was quick to call him out. Joe, this is a little different than CM Punk. Logan Paul's a little bit younger. He's actually more of a proven pay-per-view draw in combat sports than CM Punk. He's got a little bit of a background. Do you think the UFC should do it, and what is the likelihood that it happens?
I don't think the UFC should do it at all. I think the UFC should stick to being the best promotion in mixed martial arts and only bring in fighters that deserve to be there, that have worked their way up the rankings, and forget these sideshow, freak show fights. Leave that for other organizations that are either A, trying to grow their roster or trying to gain some sort of momentum in terms of viewership, or B, you do it in Japan where these types of fights people are interested in. I don't know how much they love about Logan Paul, although he did do that crazy thing when he was in Japan talking about Suicide Row there, which was very disturbing, and a lot of people wanted in to take on Logan Paul. But I don't think the UFC should get involved in this. I don't think they will. It'd be silly if they did, in my opinion. We saw what happened with the whole CM Punk thing. The James Toney, Randy Couture thing was kind of cool. There was interest there. But other than that, I don't want to see this fight. I don't want to see him fight in the UFC. You know, look, man, we either treat this like a sport. I know the UFC is a business, but we treat this like a sport or we don't.
There are significant aspects of entertainment involved in mixed martial arts, specifically the UFC, James. But what does it mean if the UFC were to get in bed with Logan Paul? I mean, I could see the financial upside for sure.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. And I know we've had fights before that don't make sense in terms of rankings, in terms of, like bringing CM Punk in and fighting, James Toney coming in and fighting, and I get that. I really think it's going to totally water down what's already to some degree a watered down product. And I think it really just sets a bad precedence. Now, one thing I got to give Josh Gross credit, because I saw him tweet this, a while ago. Why doesn't the UFC just create another organization they own and just do celebrity fights?
Contender series.
Yeah, like do something like that. Put it on Fight Pass. I mean, years ago they did celebrity boxing, and I think it got like 15 million views or something on television. Like it's something that people want to see, but just don't make it UFC official. Why doesn't the UFC just own it? They could promote it, whatever, but have Logan Paul fight some other celebrity or something in another organization, and that way you can see the fight, and you're not saying, oh, he's a UFC fighter, because otherwise you're slapping any fighter on the roster in the face by doing that. And I know people want to make more money, but I just think it really sort of devalues what it means to be a UFC fighter.
I mean, you could do Dana White's celebrity series and put these on in very, very big venues. And I mean, technically, you could still have a guy like Greg Hardy fight on that show. I mean, he's a celebrity. He's a freaking celebrity. I mean, both of the guys in the fight don't necessarily have to be celebrities, but it is a proven draw. I mean, we saw the financial just success of that show, and I had a lot of people talking about that show. I had people asking me if we were covering that, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this. I didn't know who KSI was before that. Knew who Logan Paul was for all the wrong reasons, but I do think the UFC should get involved with promoting it. I just don't think it should be with everything else.
I agree.
And hey, if you want to put CM Punk on that show, put CM Punk on that show, but I think that might be a little too much of a bruise to his ego to be classified with the celebrities at this point. Man,